Hello, boys and girls and Cougar parents. We're going to do a little more practice with similar polygons. You have a packet, and this packet's going to focus on the relationship between similar polygons. And remember, when you have similar polygons, you're going to have your corresponding angles will be congruent. Your corresponding sides will be in proportion to one another. And when it comes to those sides, we just have to set up a proper ratio to ratio or proportion to figure out those unknown sides. Let's get out our packets and practice some of these problems. Let's take a look at number 3 from our packet. Okay, and a prerequisite to being able to find unknown sides of triangles and different shaped polygons is you need to know how to, first of all, set up a proportion and solve a proportion. Okay, you need to take two ratios and set them together. And I want to take a look at number 3 because number 3 looks like, at a quick glance, well, it's not fair, I don't have enough information. Well, let's apply our rules. If you're going to do ratio reasoning, as your strategy to solve what t is, the variable, you would have great difficulty. But if we use our cross product strategy, we can solve this. Look what happens. If I do cross product that, t times t, that's going to be what? T to the second power, and that's going to be equal to 5 times 45. Or 45 times 5, and we go off here, we just 5 times 5 will be 25, carry the 2. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. So I combine that, and that's going to equal. And then I need to say, okay, well, I want to solve for t. I have to do the inverse operation. What's the inverse operation of squaring something? It's finding the square root. So I find the square root of both of these, and t is going to be equal to 15. Let's take a look at number 5 in our packet. Now, number 5, we're taking a look at two similar polygons. Okay, just like triangles, when we have similar polygons, their corresponding sides are going to be in proportion to one another. They're proportionate. So I'm going to first take a look at these two sides. Okay, side that's 10 and the side that is 8, and I need to find their corresponding sides to make them equal. Well, what's corresponding to 10 would be 4 over here. And what would be corresponding to 8 would be side y over here. Okay, so here's my proportion. I'm saying these two ratios are equivalent to one another. And I then can work out and figure out what y is by saying that the cross products are going to be equal to one another. So 8 times 4 would be 32, and that will be equal to 10 times y, which is 10y. To solve for y, I need to divide both sides by 10, and I'm going to get 3.2 is equal to y. So y, this side right here, is 3.2. That's the first one. Okay, let's see if we can figure out what z is. Okay, okay, so I'm going to take side 8 from my big triangle and 15. 8 is to 15. What corresponds with 8? Well, it's side y, which I know now is 3.2. Okay, and how that corresponds. And then I'm going to say 15, side 15 corresponds with side z. Okay, so that's what 8 is to 15 as 3.2 is to side z. There's our proportion. We cross multiply. Okay, I'm going to have to do some work over here. Let's take 3.2 and multiply it by 15. When I do that, 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Put 0 there. 2 and 3, I get 0, 8, 4, which is actually 1 decimal point there. Put 1 decimal point there. So, sorry about that, but I get 48 is equal to 8z. I divide both sides by 8, and I get z is equal to 6, because 6 times 8 is 48. So side Z is 6. Now I still have one more to go. I have to figure out what X is. Okay, so I'm going to take side 15 here. What 15 and X, these are the two sides I'm comparing. I'm going to set up my proportion saying it's equivalent to. Well, I know that 15 is corresponding to Z, which is 6. And then I know that side X here corresponds with side 5 over here. Okay, coming down the home stretch here. So 6 times X is 6X, and that has to be equal to 5 times 15, which I believe is 75. I divide both sides by 6. I get X is equal to 6 goes into 7 one time. Actually, I better do it over here. 7, 6, subtract it 1, bring down the 5. 6 goes into 15 two times. That's 12. I subtract it, get 3. Bring down 0. 6 goes into 30. 5 times. And I am all done. So be 12.5. So X is equal to 12.5. And that was a rather lengthy problem. Several problems in one. Okay, the sail shown below has a horizontal stripe parallel to the base of the sail. Okay, so that's the stripe right there. What is the distance X? Okay, that's this guy right here. What's the distance X from the bottom of the sail to the stripe? So from here to here, X. We want to figure that out. Okay, well, what I see here is I see here two triangles. So I'm going to set up a ratio where I'm going to compare the height of each triangle to the base of each triangle. I've got a little triangle here, BED, and a big triangle, BCA. The height of my big triangle, of my little triangle, BE, is 10 feet. That's the height. And the base, which is the length of the stripe, is 4.8. Okay, and that's got to be equal to the ratio of the height and base of the big triangle. The height of my big triangle, which is all the way from here all the way down, sorry about that, that's the total height. I don't know. Okay, I know it's 10 plus X. Okay, so I'm just going to put H right now. Okay, that height is, I'm going to call it H, but the base of my big triangle is 12. Okay, so here's our proportion. There's our proportion. We're saying that these two ratios are equivalent, so we cross multiply, and we say that the product's going to be equal to each other so we can figure out our unknown. So I have 4.8 times H is equal to 10 times 12, which is 120. Then I need to divide both sides by 4.8 to isolate my variable. Okay, I know that these two will cancel each other out, and I'm left with H is equal to 120 divided by 4.8. I have a decimal in my divisor, can't keep it that way. Got to move the decimal point over 1 here. Got to do the same thing to my dividend. Okay, fill that empty space in with a 0. 48 will go into 120 two times, which is 96. I subtract and I get 24. I bring down my 0, and 48 will go into 240 exactly 5 times. 5 times 48 is 240. Okay, so the height is 25. Now that's the total height. The total height is 25, but I want to know what X is. Well, I need to take away this section here 10 feet away, so if I take 10 away, that's going to leave me with 15, and that's my answer. As always, I hope that was helpful, and if you have any questions, please bring them to class tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.